Hello everyone, welcome to join today's broadcast. Today we'd like to introduce our new product, and this is we will say that this is a new product line to the QNAP, and we call that is the ADRA NDR. And it is a network monitor and analyzers, and especially focus on the intranet. Okay, because now we see a lot of the cybersecurity issues or network suspicious, they will start with some intranet threat, like they will do some intranet scanning and try to affect other PC to become victims because they need to have a more and more zombie to do some suspicious or even the attack to the other devices. So the intranet security is much more serious than before because usually in the past, maybe we are talking about is the firewall because the firewall it is a gatekeeper between the internet and the intranet, or we will say the endpoint security like the EDR, and you need to install software on the PC so it will cover your security functions on your PC or other edge devices. But in between the edge and the firewall on the switch side, currently this is much more serious issues because not all the devices, not all the PC can install or will install some EDRs on it. So if we don't have some security functions in between the firewall and the PC, then it will come out other networking issues. So this is why the QNAP we are going to have this ADRA NDR because it is a switch because we can have security functions on it, and it is a switch, so it is put on the edge switch, then play with some security monitor analyzing functions on it. But if we talk like this, still the user they may asking or they're still very curious is, okay, this is a security devices, so you mean that it's a switch, but you also play like the some security functions on it. So I can say it is a firewall also, or it is still become a switch. So this is a very good question. So we defined the NDR. It is a smart edge switch, but with the security functions inside. We have additional security functions on a switch rather than using original edge switches. Because if we have a security on it, which means this is not only a switch, it can also do like some threat detections or threat analysis. And also because we are there to switch, so we can do some like the network isolations. We can isolate some devices because maybe it is already become compromised by the hackers or other malicious. So we can do the isolations. But to the end, this is a switch to put on the edge switch. And why we like to use a switch plus the security functions, we can go back to look the network topology with the how the network topology looks like and what kind of which kind of devices need to play like which kind of rule. Like this is a very typical enterprise network topology, and you can see, and we have a firewall. Usually we have a firewall, and it is a gatekeeper between internet and the intranet. Then downlink to a core switch, then go to the distribute switch and access switch. Then is the edge devices. So in this networking, that's all you can see. If we need to have some security functions, either you have a firewall to cover it between the internet and intranet, or you need to install the edge security functions like EDR on the PC or on the server. But if one of the devices at the intranet got compromised, like maybe this is a PC from your customer side, or your employee bring it from home to the companies, and it is already have some malicious on it, but they just connect the PC directly to your company's network, then causing the threat. Or maybe they are doing some testing, or they got the phishing emails from and got the malware to the devices. Then they maybe will start doing some suspicious network, because if they need to do some attacking, before they want to do some attacking, usually they were looking for the victims. Is there any victims? It's very much more easy to do the attack. So they maybe will start doing some scanning, or sending some files, or try to do some username and password brute force. All these kind of operations is very at the very beginning steps to the network attack. But you can see in these topologies, you can see, because they are only doing for the intranet suspicious scannings. So all the suspicious operations, it will not pass through the firewall, because they are still kept in the layer 2 network, which means the firewall, it cannot see anything on it, because the packet didn't pass through the firewall. But the compromised PC is still working, still try to affect others. And once all of the victims has been compromised, they started doing some attackings, and maybe they will goes to the internet. Then the firewall will see it. The firewall will see that, okay, I got some suspicious at my intranet, but it is already too late, because maybe not only one, maybe a lot of the PCs already compromised. So it is a little bit too late for from the security point of view, because the firewall only can see the traffic pass through maybe layer 3 or upper layers network. Then the firewall can detect it. So that's why we come out the ADRA NDR, because it is based on a layer 2 edge switch. So which means it will put on the as close as possible to the edge devices. So once one of the compromised PC try to do some scanning, if they are connect to usual layer 2 switch, then the switch just forward the packet. But if they connect to the ADRA NDR, because we can do some packet mirror to do the analyzing, and we will know that is this is a usual network, or they are started doing some suspicious. So we can cover the intranet because it play like the edge switch. So to here, then you maybe will think about that is, okay, now I know I need to put the ADRA NDR at this position, at like the edge switches. But you still tell me that you can place some security functions on it. So are you want to do the compete with the firewall, or others? We will say that if talk about to compete it with the firewall, we will more like it to ADRA is going to cooperate with the firewall, because you can see very clearly in this diagram, the firewall is still there, the core switch is still there, and the ADRA NDR is playing like the edge switch, because all of the devices in this topology, they still need to go to the internet. So the firewall still need to be there, because the firewall it need to cover the layer 3 or even upper layers application stables threat detect, and they need to do a lot of like the routings, like the more like a VPN solutions on it. So the firewall is still needed in these topologies, but we can play like the edge switch, and we can I would say that we can more power to secure your intranet network, because usually the firewall only take care from the intranet to the internet, but the ADRA NDR we can care about is the intranet. So as you can see in these slides, that's why we say the ADRA NDR is more like we can cooperate with the firewall, and of course also to the EDR. We can put together to become a complete network security solutions to the customers, and we don't need to swap the firewall. We don't need to swap any edge devices. We just can give options to let user just upgrade their edge switches and can have a more secure intranet. So this is the if the ADRA NDR you need to set up, then this is the solution diagram. So now we all know that the ADRA NDR is edge switches and can cooperate with the firewall. Then the next question is, okay, so who need to have the ADRA NDR? Who is very suitable for ADRA NDR? So we will say that is the like a small business, because usually the small business have more security issues, or have a much more weakness network security like to the enterprise or middle enterprise, this kind of environments. And why we will say that the maybe for the small business, the security always is the issues and the very headache to the owner of this kind of a business. We can say that usually we can define like this for nodes. The first one is lack of resource. Small business, maybe they don't have so much budget for the security product, or they don't have so much budget to have a dedicated security person or IT person. So they cannot have a dedicated resource to do the security things. Or even they do have the security guy ITs, maybe it's a part-time job with the other employees, so they don't have too much time to do the security things. So the main reason of this one is the budget. So the resource usually is not so enough compared to the enterprise. And the second one is they usually will have some physical storage inside, like the NAS, because they need to put some devices, but they don't want to put it on the cloud or other place. They just have storage in the companies to do some storage things. But if from the hacker's point of view, if they see a device is look like the NAS, so usually they will think that, okay, they have some valuable data or files in the storage, or because it is a storage, so usually you will put something on it. So usually this kind of devices will be the first priority if someone or hackers want to do the attacking. So the NAS usually for the SMB usually it's very easy to become a target. Then the third one is, this is a little bit related to the first one. Usually for the small business, they will have a lot of legacy systems, no matter to the operating systems or some hardware devices, because they don't have so much budget to do some upgrade. So they can only use the legacy one, or very old one. But this is another issue, is if your operating system is quite old, or your hardware device is not old, is very old, then maybe you cannot do the patch upgrade, or you cannot do some software application upgrade. Usually the operating systems or software applications, they will have some vulnerable patch fix on it. But if you cannot upgrade the patch, which means the vulnerability is still there, still on your devices, then come out the network security issues. Because if the hackers see that your operating system have some vulnerabilities on it, they can looking for some tools to do some attacking. So this is very close to the resource issues, because short of the resource, causing that they have a lot of legacy systems. So all of this then let the small business is much easier than others become the victims by the hackers. And another point that also the hackers like to do some attacking to the small business is, usually the owner of the SMB or SB's own, they will compromise with the hackers because they don't have too much resource to find out how my system be hacked and who is doing that. The only thing they care about is I need to make my business keep working. So if the hacker asks them to pay for like the Bitcoin, or they ask pay for the cash, if the number is not so large, usually the owner will say, okay, then I just give them because I need to make my company keep working. So it's much easy to let the hacker to complete the whole attacking. So that's why we will say that because the ADRA, we can do the some security issues on from the switch side. So which means we can decreasing some loadings to the ITs because we can lower the effort. Let them they don't need to do a lot of things or taking a lot of time to do some intranet checkings. ADRA can help them to do that. So we will say that the ADRA NDR is very suitable for the SMB and also the small business. So here is the models for your reference. That because the ADRA NDR, you can see right here for the model name, the ADRA NDR, we use the dual operating systems on the QTS is the on the Guardians. You can see the hardware model name. We use the Guardian for hardware platform and to give dual systems on the Guardians. So user they can choose they want to use the Guardian, the QTS, or they want to use the ADRA NDR. So depends on the usage to the end users. And for the ADRA NDR, now we have the license on it because some of our functions and informations you need to have a standard license to for after purchasing. Then you can see some functions and the information work. We will have another slides to show you what the difference is between the standard license and the trial license. So the ADRA NDR, we need to have a license for that. And then on the top, you can see this is the suggestions for each of the hardware models, how many edge devices can covered by each of the hardware platform. So this is for your reference. But if you talk about how many edge devices can be covered by Guardians, we also have another suggestions for the customer that depends on the network usage, how many edge devices can covered by each of the hardware platforms. So we defined into these on these tables. The first is the for the usual web browsings, like most of your employee in the office, they are only doing some paperwork, or they just need to use the Google to do some searching, or they just need to do some promotions on the Facebook. This kind of a basic network usage, we will say that is a usual web browsing. So if they only have a basic web browsings, the number is in the first columns for each of the models. And the second one is maybe at the customers' companies, they will have a NAS, or they will have some server doing some file backup, or have a large files transfer. So which means they will take more network usage. So in this case, like the 70% of the edge devices, they are doing the usual web browsings, but 25% they need to have a higher network loading. So in this scenario, the suggestion to the edge devices is become like this one. And the third one, if all of the edge devices is the high network loadings, then you need to looking for these deployments, because maybe the customer, they are a studio, or they are put the focus part is in for their server room. Then all the devices, they are high loadings to the network. So the covered edge number is become like the third column. And the last one is the traps. We will have another slide to talk about the traps, what the trap it is. Because on the ADRA NDR, we can set up the traps by virtual machines to let the we like to phishing the hacker. So let the hackers to see some seems like a real edge devices and they can do some suspicious on it. The purpose for us is we need to collect more information from these compromised PCs. But even we like to doing some this kind of collections, we still need to take some CPU usage and also need to do some and need to take some network usage. So this is the numbers of how many traps you want to set up on the ADRA NDR for each of the hardware platform. Our suggestion number of the trap is also for your reference to let you know if you need more. If you need to set up more traps on this ADRA, then you need to choose a higher level of the hardware platform. So this is the table just for your reference for each of the edge devices to the different hardware platform. So now we know that how the ADRA NDR is working and what the target user it is. Then we still like to give you a high level discuss with the how the hackers they are doing some network attack, because just like I said, the ADRA NDR we are more focused on the beginning of the network attacking, like the discovered. When they're doing the discovery, we will notice that we are more focused on the first beginning. So the reason is we can go into this timeline with the how the network threat starts and to the end, how usually how much times they need to take for each of the stage. So we can start from the left side. Once if one of the devices in your intranet be compromised, maybe it's the PC from your guest, or maybe the PC from your employee bring from other place, then just plug in, connect to your company's network. Then the first compromised devices is get into your intranet, and after that, this one will start to looking for some victims. They will start to do some discover, to do some scanning, because they need to know is there any candidate or victims can be compromised also, and also how many service they can collect the informations to these devices. They need to gather more information before they go into the next step. So they will take a period of time to doing some discover and the scannings, and also they will start to looking for is there any security functions or security devices at the intranet, because this is also let them need to decide which kind of tools or operations they need to prepare for the next stage of the attacking. So at this stage, they will also to see is there any network security functions or devices on it. And if they see that, okay, no other security functions is in this intranet, then also they collect enough information to all the victims, then they will start to exploit it. Maybe try to brute force your account. They will try to get the remote desktop, or they want to get some root admin's right to the PC or the server, do this kind of operations, because they want to compromise the victims, then go to the end, they want to exploit more cybersecurity, cyber attack to the others. Maybe it's also still in the intranet, or they will go to the internet. So if go to this stage, even the firewall can see that, okay, someone at the intranet tried to attacking to the internet, or I see someone at my intranet try to call home back to the CNC server and want to do some advanced protect, it's still a little bit too late for your intranet, because maybe not only one, maybe they have a lot of PC or server already be compromised. So that's why the ADRA NDR, we will more focus on the early stage of this timeline, because we can start from the beginning. Okay, if one of the PC has been compromised, because we cannot control it, because we don't know where this PC is coming from and why it will connect to my network, because I cannot control the hands from the employees, but I can keep the threat in just in a single PC. Okay, this one is already compromised, so I isolate that PC. I don't want you or this PC to affect others at the intranet. Okay, I just need to keep you in a I would say in a zone. Then and then let the IT, let the admin know that PC have the malicious malwares on it. Maybe you need to go there to do some malware scannings, but we can keep others secure. We can keep other devices at the same intranet secure, because we can isolate that PC. So this is the concept for the main concept to the ADRA NDR. We like to do the very beginnings network threat detections at the intranet. We will focus on the very beginning stage. So this is from the timeline point of view, to also to let you know what they designed the concept to the ADRA NDR. So next one, we are going to introduce some technologies on the ADRA to let you know how we can detect the threat and how we analyze the package in your network, because we are a switch, but how we can do that. So the first thing is we can have a trap set up on the ADRA NDR. Some of you maybe will think that the trap is similar to honeypot. The answer is yes. You can also call that is a honeypot. But why we like to mention about this, because the ADRA NDR, we can use the virtualizations to create traps on the devices directly, which means you don't need to prepare a spare hardware like a PC or server to run a real environment just for the honeypot, because even a very cheap PC or a server, you still need to take you money. You still need to prepare a hardware for that, and you still need to manage it. Maybe you need to reinstall the operating systems because it is already crashed by the attackings, or it is already be there for a long time. Then everybody knows that PC is a honeypot. They don't want to do furthermore attackings to the honeypot, because they know you are trying to phishing the attackers. So we put the traps on the ADRA NDR directly with the virtual machines. So from the hacker's point of view, they still see a PC and it looks like it's very easy to do some attackings. So they will do a lot of suspicious attack operations to these traps. Then we can collect these all operations from this hacker, and to help ADRA itself to define is this is the real suspicious, we need to isolate it or others. And you still can and just delete it and recreate another traps again, or you can create multiple traps on a single ADRA devices based on your network deployments. This is can also depends on the IT or depends on the customers. So they can create the traps or delete the traps what they want. So it is very flexible to compare to the traditional honeypot, we don't need to prepare a hardware. We don't need to have a dedicated PCs for the traps or for the honeypot. And how we can cooperate to the traps and the ADRA. This is our detections and analysis technology scenario to the ADRA NDR. As you can see on the left side, we have a PC marked in blue and the red. The blue one is the normal one, so we just doing the switching. So we forward the packet to uplink or downlink. There's no any questions. But once a PC is doing some threat, because even we are doing the switchings, we still mirror the packet to the CPU for analyzing, because we are switch. So mirror is a very basic function to the switch. So we will keep mirroring the packet to the CPU. The advantage to do this is because we are doing the mirroring, so we will not keep the packet to the client. So the client, they still can do the usual network access, do the usual packet forward, and will not affect their performance and the packet. So we just mirror a packet to the CPU and to see is there any threat. Like the red one, he is doing the scanning in the intranet and also scan to the trap. And the trap will detect that someone is trying to scam my service port, then it will report to the ADRA NDR. You need to take a look to this one. Then the ADRA NDR will send the packet to the deep threat analysis systems to do the more checkings, including the correlation analysis, because we cannot just define this is a threat by single packet or single operations. We need to do more correlations to define to decide is this one is a suspicious or not. And after, if we confirm that this devices is really doing some unusual network operations, then we will base on the configurations by user on the ADRA. Supposedly, if they set up a very serious rules with once you see any suspicious in the intranet, isolate that devices. If user configure these rules, then we will isolate the PC, like in this scenario, we will isolate the red one. We want to keep the risk just only on this PC. We will not let this PC to affect others. So the risk management will also have a log and to show to the admin that, okay, now this PC, this IP address, this MAC address is doing some like scanning or try to do some suspicious. You need to start to do something on this PC. So the admin will know that, okay, know the dedicated one I need to fix that PC at the intranet. So this is the full image to how the ADRA NDR working for the network security. So now we know that how the ADRA NDR working. So and all you know that we are using the Guardian for hardware platform. So this is now I'm going to give you some introductions for how we turn the Guardian to the ADRA NDR. And of course, we will have another details SOP to teach you how to swap the devices, swap the Guardian to the ADRA. We will put these documents on the QNAP global website. You can search on our global website. The first step is the we like to do the, because we have two kind of hardware. The first one is the 600 piece and the 602 piece, because we have two kind of hardware, so you need to install different kind of SSDs on it. So this is give you a reference. And after you install the SSD on it, then you can log into the Guardian and do the firmware update and update to the latest QTS, because as I mentioned, that now the ADRA NDR we use the dual operating systems on the Guardian. So you need to upgrade to the latest the QTS, because the QTS is the base operating systems to the Guardians. You need to upgrade to the latest QTS to get the dual image. And after you upgrade to the latest one, then you reset the Guardian, then boot up, you will see this options page to ask you want to keep in the Guardian or you want to turn to the QN the ADRA NDR. If you want to change to the ADRA NDR, then just click the choose another firmware. There's a buttons right there. Then you just click it. Then it will go to the ADRA NDR installations. And after that, you just need to log in to the ADRA NDR. Then you can see the ADRA NDR's dashboard. So this is the flow how to swap the Guardian to the ADRA NDR. And after that, as we mentioned that we need to have a license. We have a standard license for the ADRA NDR. So after that, you can purchase the standard license on the ADRA NDR, because by default, we only have a trial license on the ADRA NDR. So the coming topic is, okay, so what the difference between trial license and the standard subscribed license? We will show you that what the difference is. But before we show you the differences, two things we like to let you know that is the first one, even on the trial license, the ADRA NDR, the functions on the basic functions on the ADRA NDR is still working, like the network detect, network analysis, and we still will deliver the logs, deliver the informations to you. So you still can see the logs on the dashboard show you that the ADRA NDR is working. And the second one is it's still the ADRA NDR is still need to have some software components upgrade. You will see on the devices we have a different kind of a components on it, and even on the trial we still let the components upgrade, because we need to keep the ADRA NDR function work even on the trial license. So which means the components, all of the components is still working. We will not terminate the updates, if you are only using the trial license. No, we will not do that. We will keep the component workings on the ADRA NDR. So what the difference is between trial and the subscribed license? The first thing is we will mask some informations on the devices. The trial, the ADRA NDR is still working. The basic function, analyzing, checking is still working, but we will mask some information like the host name, source IP, source MAC address, and the destination IP address. You can see this is an example on the devices. If you are only using the trial license, we will mask some informations on it. You need to purchase the subscribe standard license, then to get the full informations to this IP address and the host name. And the second one is some of the advanced functions we will let it disable, like the basic, the scanning, we can let devices working, but if you want to do more configurations to dedicate rules or devices, we will disable it. So you need to have a standard license to have additional advanced functions on the ADRA NDR. Like right here on the risk management, threat analysis, and the rules. The basic one, we will keep it work, but the advanced functions, we will turn it into the disable. So between the trial license and the subscriber license, some informations will mask on the devices, and some of the advanced feature will disable if you are only using the trial license on the ADRA NDR. Okay, so now you know that the difference between trial and the subscriber license. And the next one, I'm going to do some. We are going to do some demonstrations to the ADRA NDR, because or we know that for this kind of devices, if only talk about from the slides, did not see any pages or did not see any devices, it is a little bit short of the feeling to these devices, because for the security devices, we like to show to the user, to show to the customers how it works and what kind of operations will trigger the detect engines. So I will give you some short demonstrations. I will try to simulate the PC now I'm using. I want to simulate this one is already compromised by others. So maybe I will do some suspicious to try to get others to become my victims. And then we will go back to see how the ADRA NDR can detect, and you can see what kind of logs it will display on the ADRA NDR. Okay, so first I log into my devices, and because this one I already upgraded to the ADRA NDR, so you will see this is already the ADRA NDR's login page. Then after you log into the devices, then you just go to the ADRA NDR's page. This is the dashboard for the ADRA NDR. You can see on the top, you can see how many devices is connected to which port. Like right here, I have a port 2 with the uplink my gateway, and the port A is connected to the PC now I'm using too, and they have another NAS connect to my port 14. And you can see right here is already have some traffic and analysis results right here. So now this is already a working ADRA NDR. So I going to do some suspicious on my intranet, because I like to do some like suppose now my PC is already be compromised. Then what I'm going to do to get more victims, like the first steps, I need to know is there any, because I cannot see the ADRA NDR's page, so I can only know that what my IP address it is. So I go to check my IP address. Maybe I will start with my intranet. So then I see my intranet IP address. I'm with the 108 subnet. So I start to do some scanning to see is there any others in the same subnets. Maybe I can do some attacking to these PCs. So I'm doing some scanning to see is there any other devices. Okay, now we see that we have a lot of IP address is at the same subnet. Okay, so maybe I just try to choose one of them. Maybe I try to this one. I try to maybe the 28. Okay, I try to this one to see is there any. Okay, then I dump all the services now running on this 28 PC or server or devices, no matter. But you can see some interesting things from the attacker's point of view, like, okay, you have a SSH enables on these server devices, edge devices. So I can try to connect to it because you have a SSH enable. So okay, now because I don't know the account or the password to these devices, so maybe I just give a very beginning to have to guess what kind of account it is using on this server, because maybe I'm lucky the admin didn't use some very hard account name to username to for the SS account. So maybe I can start trying to some basic one like the admin, like the root administrator, this kind of account. And if I cannot use this basic kind of username, I can try to use other diction to do some brute force to get the username. So I do a very easy start try using the admin. Let's see, can I have the try to access to this one? Oh, then seems like I passed the username authentication because it already start to ask me the password. So maybe I can do another try, like set up a password 126. Then I take a try. Okay, I talk too much. Then try again. Okay, seems like I already access to this PC because it shows that I'm admin. So now I'm already in these devices. So if I can in these devices and I can display the folders on these devices, which means I can start to do something, because if I want to exploit or do more scan, I will have some maybe I need to call to my CNC server, or try to get some more uh, files or tools from the internet or from others. So now I just go to do some download some files. But here, because I don't really have the tools, so I just go to a very usual website. I simulate that. I'm not talking about this website is suspicious. I just do some demonstrations to if the hacker try to download some file from others. So maybe like the downloading someone. Okay, then do something that I cannot, or try others. Okay, do this kind of download things, like supposedly if I can download the files, then which means I can start to do preparing some exploit to this PC or others. But till here, we can see that what we can do to these edge devices. But how about on the ADRA? Is there ADRA do anything on it? Did he see anything on it? So we can go to the threat analysis. You can see right here. Uh, let's see my IPs on these devices. My IP address is 108.31. And if you go to the logs, 108.31, you can see the ADRA is already record a lot of operations from these devices. Okay, like from the beginning. From the beginning, we are doing is we try to scan the IP address, and we try to scan the service port on the devices, onto the edge devices. But the ADRA already see what you are doing, so it's already record. Now this one you are doing the scanning. And then because I try to SSH to these devices, the .28, but you can see right here, we set up, you can see the record. But you will ask that the SSH is a very usual network, so you define the SSH become a threat. The reason is not like this. You can see on the trigger point right here, we are saying that is the SSH trap. Okay, and you can see also right here, this is a trap. So which means the .28, from the hacker point of view, this one maybe can be easily compromised, is my trap. I set up a traps on the ADRA NDR, as you can see right here in this page. Okay, I set up 2 traps right here, and the .28 is my traps. Okay, so I can also change the host name, because like right here I put like the NAS, and also I can also change the MAC address what I want, or I want to change the IP address or change the DNS, because maybe these traps is working for 1 or 2 weeks. I do some configuration changes to let it's more like a real one. So I can also change these informations on the ADRA NDR. So actually, this is a totally fake devices at the intranet. I just want to let the compromised PC to think that this one I can try to do some attacking, try to let it become a victim. Like right here, because I download some files, and it is can say that you can do this one. I traps then I recording that you want to try to download the files. Okay, I don't know what file you want to download it, but you access to my trap and try to download some file from somewhere, then which means for us this is a totally a high risk. Okay, why you want to log into here and why you want to download from the other side. So we will record this kind of operations. And this is the logs on the devices. So can we do some operation directly to these edge devices? The answer is yes. You can set up the rules on the ADRA NDR. Because currently for demonstrations, because the PCs, I need to do a demonstrations, so I didn't turn on the quarantines rules. But if you are IT and you don't like to see this kind of threat at the intranet to affect others, you can create a very serious rules like for all the sources. And if the ADRA NDR see any potential attacks, you can do the quarantine directly, auto quarantine, which means if I have these rules right here and I turn it on, become enable, then once I doing this kind of scanning, my PC will be totally isolated to the network. I cannot reach others in the same subnet because the ADRA NDR will quarantine my edge devices. You can see you can see in the risk management in this page. If some of the edge devices is already be quarantined, you will see the status it's become a quarantine to the edge devices. Because what we want to do is, if we go back to the slides, in this slides, if this one is now is the like the PC now I'm using now is the compromised PC, and I try to do the SSH, I try to do the network scanning to the others, and maybe I will start to do the next steps for exploit. But if I set up the quarantine to this to my PCs, then I can control the risk only on my PC. My PC cannot affect the others because my network is totally isolated with others. And all you can see, all these operations only running on the layer 2 because I only do the layer 2 network. So all this network, it will not pass through the firewall. It is only at the intranet. So even we have a very powerful firewall right here, it will not see this kind of operations because firewall, it is taking care of the internet and the intranet. Maybe I after I compromise a lot of the PCs at the intranet and try to brute force or DDoS to other companies' servers at the internet, maybe the firewall will see this suspicious. But it is still a little bit too late because even the firewall stop this kind of operations to the internet, to the internet, the intranet still already compromised. A lot of edge devices is already be compromised. So that's why we say that the ADRA NDR can cooperate with firewall to help the IT to cover their internet and to cover their intranet network to secure the whole company's network. So the ADRA NDR is going to cooperate with the firewall. Okay. So this is the small demonstrations to the ADRA NDR. So you can, this is the thing that we show that what the ADRA NDR working, and we can do some we can do some deep analysis and to see is there any threat on the at the intranet. Okay, so if you need to have a more secure to your intranet, then you can have a because you already have a firewall and you have the edge devices, but you can have the ADRA NDR to become your edge switches because for the usual if the usually we only have the firewall or the edge devices, so it can only cover the internet and also on the edge devices. But in between the switch levels, usually we don't have the security functions on the switches. So now we have security functions on the Guardian, the layer 2 smart switches, then it can become a ADRA NDR. And it also can give our resellers or our partner to have options that because we all know that you will have some security solutions for your customers. Maybe you have a full package with the service to provide security functions to your customers. So the ADRA NDR is also additional options for you, so can let your service from the firewall to the switch and to the edge devices. You can have a full securities devices in your full security package. Can give you have a more valuable service to your customers. Okay, so this is today's introductions to our new security product under ADRA NDR. Thank you.